Have I come to this planet to pay bills?
Leaders are not born, they are made.
So I want to meet you for half an hour. How much will you charge? Everyone will be buying and selling time.
विश्व में केवल 10% ऐसे लोग हैं जो गोल सेट करते हैं.
The manager converted into a leader and you said, we all know, let's do it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's so nice to have you back. I first owe you an apology that last Wednesday, for some reasons, we couldn't get on the live streaming. And the best part is that we went through the whole hour without knowing that. So we did a full dress rehearsal. So we are back to you, and thanks to Cynthia for agreeing to do it all over again. So we are here because we believe in giving you value, and we would not compromise that in any way. So we are back here to share with you some very, very important things which are concerning the voice of a leader. And you all know that a leader, he has to communicate, he or she has to communicate. And communication, more than communications, is influencing skills. And influencing happens through your voice. So if your voice is not, it is not powerful in the sense that it does not stand out, it does not convey, it doesn't show confidence, then it doesn't have the type of impact that a leader is required to have. So today we are going to have a little discussion on that. And for this discussion, I have none other than Cynthia Zhai. Now, Cynthia Zhai is a voice coach. She's a professional speaker, a certified speaking professional, and best-selling author. She's a TEDx speaker and has helped professionals from 46 countries across 6 continents to speak with a powerful voice. Cynthia has been a professional speaker and coach for the past 21 years. It's different that she looks 21 and she's coached people for 21 years. And her engagement spans 5 continents in 21 countries. Besides that, I've had the privilege of seeing the magic she creates on the stage. I've seen the type of impact that it had on the audience. And I've also had the privilege of knowing her and meeting her in Singapore. And I find that besides being a thorough professional, she's a wonderful human being. So, Cynthia, welcome to the BSP live show, and looking forward to a great conversation with you.
Sure. Thank you, Sushil, for having me again.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start the conversation by first, let me start by saying that when I was in the army, we were never taught anything about voice. That was not a part of our training schedule at all. But there was something called word of command. And I don't know how we learned it, but we just had to yell. And the way we had to, for example, if you are a senior appointment and you are giving a word of command, which is to be heard by a couple of hundreds of people, and they are spread out, and it's in the open, it's not in an auditorium or something, you really had to do it, like what you say, the entire body was involved. You couldn't do it from the throat in any way. So it was from your belly, it was from your whole body being projected. And that's what we sort of learned in our training. And we were told only one thing, that you have to be loud and clear. And the clarity was very important, because if you could be very loud and you said something which didn't resonate or was not understood correctly, it was of no use. But when it comes to the corporate environment, I'm sure you can't be that, you can't be loud and all. You could be in a boardroom talking to just 5-6 people. So what does the loudness of a voice, the power of a voice, whenever we are talking about it, what does it mean to a corporate leader or a business leader?
Sure. So the power of the voice is not about loudness. So the power of the voice, most of the times I say that I use an acronym, which is SPICE. SPICE. So S is space. So you need to, the powerful voice will take up space. So it doesn't matter that how small you are in terms of sizes. That even if you're small, but the moment you start speaking, your voice can take up space. Then that is the voice that conveys power. So a lot of people are always surprised that, oh, Cynthia, you're slim, but whenever you are having the stage, that it takes up space. And also, there are times that when I'm on the stage, I don't use a microphone to show them that you can project your voice powerfully without shouting. So that's why I take up space, the S, space. And then the SPICE, this formula or acronym. So I see that you're posting the other one on the screen already, which is presence. So P is presence. So a voice that has presence, conveys presence. You know that when a lot of leaders talk, that even though they're talking, but you somehow sense that this person is not present. So we can hear that in the voice, even though that for non-professionals, that they cannot put a finger on their on what is happening, but it is. They also can tell that the speaker, the leader, is not present. So a powerful voice conveys presence. So that's S and P, and then I is influence and inspiration. So a powerful leadership voice needs to be able to inspire people, influence people, not coerce people, not force people. So it's inspiring, it's influential. And then SPICE, we have C and E as well. So C and E is compassion. So leadership voice is not a voice that's just sounding very analytical. So a powerful leadership voice, and also the powerful leaders, we know that they have emotions. They convey compassion. So that I always prefer the word compassion over empathy. So compassion, a compassionate leader is someone that who have gone through whatever you have gone through, or they have gone through the similar experiences. They know the pain, the struggle. So that's our compassion. You can hear compassion in a person's voice as well. And the E, I think, is something that people may not hear a lot. The E is equanimity. Equanimity. So I will post that in the chat later. Equanimity. And equanimity means that in the midst of chaos, in the midst of everything that's happening, uncertainties, the leader can still stay grounded and sound grounded and centered. So that's something that we have seen over the past few years. Is very important, is very much needed. So if chaos happens, if danger happens, and then the leader needs to be the one, even though the leader does not know how to do yet, but they need to sound like they know what to do, so that they can assure people, they can calm people down. We also have seen leaders who are, when chaos or mess happens, they sound fearful, they sound unsure themselves. So that's why you see a powerful voice comes from a powerful leader. They need to fulfill all of them. Space, presence, influence, inspiration. C is compassion, and then E, I think you already found the word, equanimity.
Thank you very much. So I will really say that when I heard you speaking in Kuala Lumpur and when you walked up on the stage, I had the same feeling. And I said, oh, this slim girl, how is she going to, what is she talking about voice? But I I really found it difficult to believe that that person who didn't look like that could really
Yes.
project that voice. And this
Yes.
is really a true testimony of the fact that she is talking about, that your size of the body and your body strength has nothing to do with it. So, and now that you say this, I remember from my army experience, some very strong, heavily built people. They had a very meek voice. They could never project their voice. So I think it's not related. They are two different things. Okay, thank you so much. So let's get on to go and further and say that how can leaders in the business world and in the corporate world, how do you suggest that they should enhance their vocal presence to effectively convey authority and inspire their teams? Because in Spice also you mentioned both, you talked about inspiration, you talked about presence, and so, how do they do it? And particularly when we are talking about leaders in the space of corporate and business world. What's happened? I can't
Ah,
hear you.
yes, because I was
Yeah.
muted. So a, a good voice has to be developed. A powerful leadership voice has to be developed. It's not something that they can speak with a powerful voice right away, or I'll tell them a few things. They'll speak with a powerful voice right away. And so how do we develop the leadership voice? Now, number one, of course, in order to develop a powerful voice, a good voice, people want to know, comes from a relaxed body. A good voice comes from a relaxed body. So that's why people and leaders need to learn how to relax first. Now, of course, it's not easy, especially in a very stressful, uncertain world that we're living in. People are in organizations, they are leading companies, leading big teams. So that's why that one thing, the first step that will help them is proper breathing. Proper breathing. Well, unfortunately, most people are not breathing properly. So I would like to invite whoever is watching right now to take a deep breath. And then after you take the deep breath, you type into the chat where you see the movement in your body. So let's
Yeah,
have
let's have that.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So let's
those
have
who are
everyone do
watching,
that.
let's have you do that. Take a deep breath and observe where is the movement in the body, and whatever you observe, please write in the chat.
Yes. So as you do that, I'll take a sip of my wine. So it's evening time in Singapore, so I can drink wine.
So I've got an answer. It says chest.
Okay.
Sorry, here it
Thank
is.
you, Prince.
Yes.
Prince Sarush. He said, yes, drink my wine. Thank you. So, yes, chest. So if you're seeing the movement on the chest, unfortunately, you are not breathing properly. But the good news is you have potential. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate. This is what you probably were doing. So when you're taking the deep breath in, chest goes up. When you take the breath out, chest was going down. So if you're doing that one, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is you're not doing it correctly. So leaders, we hear bad news first. The good news is you have potential. So you have potential. So belly, yes, but the belly needs to move in the right direction. So when we breathe in, the belly should come out. When we breathe out, belly should go in, and the upper body remains still. So you see, if I do proper deep breath, yes, you don't see any movement, right? Because the movement is not on the upper body, it's on the belly. So this is something that you want to write it down first, which is when you take the proper breath in, belly should come out. when you take the proper breath out, belly should go in. So you need to know what's correct and what's wrong first. If you can breathe in this way as a habit, it's not that only when you want to do that breathing. It must become a habit. When you do that, then you'll be able to manage the stress better than most people. And you will also be a little bit more relaxed than most people. So that's why the first thing about a powerful voice that leaders can do, which is to learn how to relax. And to do that, we'll need to learn the proper breathing first. And with proper breathing, not only you will be more relaxed than most people, but also it lays the foundation for a proper, powerful voice. So that will be the first step, proper breathing. Okay. So I'll hand over
That's
to
very good.
Yes,
So I
Sushi.
think now, really speaking, that's a little limitation of a program like this, that you're not there to see. Otherwise, Cynthia could have, demonstrated and shown you exactly how it means. But I'm sure you would have understood. And if you have written down the 2, 3 things that she has said, so if
Yes.
you're
I can
breathing
also
from your chest,
demonstrate
you're not
a
doing it
little
right.
bit.
Yeah.
I can demonstrate a little bit. So for example, I just need to shift the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
So if I take a breath in, you see my hand on my stomach. When I take the proper breath in, let me see if you can see the stomach.
I think we need to go a little down.
And then you see the stomach comes up, right? And now I'm going to breathe out. And you see the stomach goes in. Breathe in again and breathe out. So then you see the stomach is moving. Okay, is it helping?
So I think that is, as Prince is also saying, a wonderful insight. So very, very simple thing, but we do it wrong and nobody tells us how to correct it. And that is how it is important to have these type, like last time Cynthia had said, that people in this space, they do go and do a lot of image consulting. They want to know how good they look and all that. But people
Yes.
normally ignore the voice part. And really speaking, whether you're a speaker or a leader, particularly if in your profession, your communication of course, communication is important for everyone. But in your profession, if communication is a major space that you have to be good at, then you have no option but to get your voice trained, because most of us have an untrained voice. So it's not good voice and bad voice. Am I right in saying that it's not good or bad voice, it's trained and untrained voice?
Yes, yes. You can say that. At the same time, so we wouldn't, when we say good voice or bad voice, we're not judging them. It's more from a technical point of view.
That's it.
So a technical point of view, a good voice is a relaxed voice. And also, the opposite of good doesn't have to be bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It can be good and not so good.
Yes. Good and untrained.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I've also heard, there's a common saying that actions speak louder than words. But in
Yes.
the army, we learned that a powerful voice can make a difference too. So, can you share something which is a little casual, funny, or memorable story where a leader's voice had an unexpected impact?
Okay. Expected impact. I think it's probably most of the times, because I'm working with clients, initially they don't have a very so-called very good voice. So they are, for example, one client, she said that she was not heard very often. And she was in the meeting, and the host of the meeting said, okay, let's do a round of introduction. So my client was the first one, did the introduction. And then after one round of introduction, the host said to my clients, oh, you haven't introduced yourself. My client was thinking, I was the first one who did it. That's where he always found that she was not heard. She was often being ignored, even if she said something that no one noticed. So that's something that she realized that she needed to work on her voice.
Very good. I think that's a nice one. And I remember that I had a commanding officer, and so he was very smart and handsome and everything, but he had a very squeaky voice. So when he came in front of people, like if you come and address the troops, particularly, they're expecting something from you.
Yes.
And suddenly he starts in a voice which is like a squeaky voice, which is a very timid voice, and he could not create an impact. And now people in the army can't laugh out, but you could
Yeah.
see that there were people who were trying to giggle. They were laughing about it because he was not able to act like a good leader. So I think
That's right.
what you're saying is right. I'm really getting the spice is very clear, and so is the very good lesson that we've just heard from Cynthia is that a
Yes.
powerful voice is a relaxed voice, and a
Yeah,
relaxed
and also.
voice comes from a relaxed body, and
Mhm.
in the relaxed body, your breathing is important. So these are a couple of things which are very, very vital for us to understand if we want to be leaders with a powerful voice.
Yes. Yeah, so even from a lot of the national heads, we can see a lot of them, they are not speaking with a powerful voice. They need to improve their voice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So, can you tell us some practical vocal techniques that leaders can employ to captivate their audience and deliver
Sure.
some impactful presentations or speeches?
Yes. So one we mentioned, which is takes a little bit time, it's a little bit longer term to correct your breathing. That takes about 2 to 3 months to make the proper breathing a habit. But at the same time, there is something that you can do to make some immediate change. For example, we talk about taking up space. So then if you are speaking with a voice like this, like some of my clients, when they came to me, they said, oh, I have a very soft voice. I said, no, your problem is actually not soft voice. You're speaking in this way. So when you're speaking in this way, then the voice is not coming out. The voice is not taking up space. People will find that you are either sounding very soft or lack of confidence. Or some of my clients said, oh, they said I sound aloof, arrogant. It's because that they're speaking in this way. So the problem is, for this one, is you're not using breath to support your voice. So you want to know that breath powers the voice. When the breath is coming out, when you breathe out, the breath makes your voice out. So that's why when you're speaking, you need to breathe out. If you don't breathe out, you will have this voice. And then after a while, if you speak in this way, you will feel breathless. So a lot of people, they have breathless problems. One of the major issues was that they are not using the breath when they're speaking. Or they will have another problem at the end besides breathless, and then because they don't use the breath, so at the end they're speaking in this way, which is very annoying. We call this the vocal fry. So then we call that a vocal fry because your voice is not supported by breath anymore. It's like something sizzling on the pan frying. So we say that the vocal fry. So to avoid all these problems is that you need to use the breath to support your voice. So that's why when you are speaking, your breath must go out. So you can actually purposely let more breath go out on keywords. Keywords, just like what I demonstrated, right? On the word key, I let more breath come out. Or like what I'm seeing under the screen, it says voice of leaders. Unleash the power of your voice. So then you see a few words, I'm using more breath, like the word leaders, unleash and power. So you use more breath on keywords so that your breath is coming out, your voice is coming out, also the impact is coming out. If you just say voice of leaders, unleash the power of your voice, go unleash it. no one feel like the need to unleash it. So you put more breath on the key words. What I also call speak on the exhale. Now, a lot of audience members or my clients will be saying, I see it. You are emphasizing the word. It's more than emphasizing the word. It is to use more breath on those words. There's a difference because sometimes my clients will end up doing like voice of leaders. Then you're prolonging the sound. That sounds weird. So if we don't want to sound weird, we only want to sound more powerful, not weird. So it'd be more like using more breath. Unleash power. So you see power, use more breath. Not power, then you'll be weird. So that's a powerful technique to help you sound clear. So I'm trying to put them into the screen. Sound clear, sound more powerful, and also have more impact. So just that one technique to help you achieve at least 3 objectives.
Thank you so much. That was powerful. And connected with this, I've also been, hearing this term that you should not speak from your throat, you should speak from your diaphragm. Now, what does that really mean?
Okay, that means that's misconception. So there's no such thing as speak from the diaphragm, even though that's what most people would say. So it is actually speak with the support of your diaphragm. Speak with the support of your diaphragm. What we are really doing, even when we so-called talk from the throat, is not talk from the throat. It's more you're only having vibration or resonance from the here and here. Is actually having so-called resonance from here all the way up, using the cavities here all the way up. So what we really want to do is to also activate the cavity here in the body to generate resonance so that you can speak with the so-called body, speak with the body, or generating more sound from the body. So when you do that, you hear my voice, right? It's more grounded. It has the space. It has the spice. The space, take up space, have presence, project more influence, have the groundedness, which is equanimity. And for the voice coming from here without the support from the body, then you hear the difference, right? This voice does not project presence, does not have space. It sounds very young. It can also be very irritating. So that's what we mean by speaking with the body, or speak with the support of the diaphragm.
Very good. So now let's go further to the next question of how can leaders develop a confident and authentic voice that commands respect and influences others in the workplace?
Yes. So the confident part, which is the powerful part, which we have mentioned, so you need to develop the voice. One is you need to develop proper breathing. So 2 is once proper breathing becomes a habit, you will need to activate the body. That's the activation step, activate the body. And then after that, you develop more resonance in the body. So that's what I call the bar model. So first step is breathing, proper breathing, B. And then activation, activate the body. Then the third step, resonance, develop more sound in the body. So that's a bar model to help you develop confidence and power in your voice. And that authenticity will also be developed when you do that, because you're more using more of your body, you're more aligned with who you are, with your body. So when you're not even in your body, you're not going to be authentic. So that's one part of developing the authenticity in the voice. The other part is the C, which is compassion, which is emotion. You need to develop emotion in your voice as well. You cannot say, I am excited. So if I speak in this way, do you feel I'm excited? Or I'm annoyed? I'm annoying. Probably more annoying. because it's not authentic, right? You're putting on a voice that's where you're not feeling it. So in order to develop an authentic voice, you need to feel what you're saying. Feel what you're saying. If you don't feel it, you will sound very inauthentic. Like, for example, if I say, let's fight for it, do you think I'm feeling it? Or it's more yelling, right? So I'm not feeling it. So you must feel what you say. That's the emotion part.
Absolutely. And so there's a nice question that has come up. And this question is on the, sorry, here. So this is Arvind is asking, how do you assess Joe Biden on voice impact?
Okay, so first of all, we'll put politics aside. I'm just going to comment on his voice as a leader. So as a leader, his voice is a little bit weak. So he needs to develop the power in the voice. So when the voice is too weak, when you're speaking as a leader, then people would not be able to feel the impact. So that's the key thing in his voice. The voice is too weak.
Absolutely. And now that we've just had our Prime Minister Modi go for a state visit there, how do you assess Narendra Modi's voice?
Oh, that actually I have a voice. That's something I will need to do some work.
Okay. So I personally feel that that's a very powerful voice. And really speaking, I quite, as a speaker, I try to analyze his videos. He's got the right pauses, he's got the right emphasis, and I think he speaks very powerfully. And he does all this. He'll inspire people. He's authentic. He's grounded, and all that. So yes,
Okay. Yes,
thank you
that's
very
good.
much.
Sure. Now you see. Now you have the reference points, the space.
Yeah. Okay. So he says, just a minute. No. I just heard him saying, sorry, this one. Couldn't agree with you more. So, yeah. So people do agree. Yeah, Narendra Modi has a good voice. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, you said something which I missed out.
Oh no.
Okay. Right. So let's go ahead and move to the next question, which is just one second. Yeah. What role does non-verbal communication play in the overall communication impact? So, along with the voice, like if
Yes.
your voice does not match with the non-verbal communication, or your body and your voice are not in sync, how do you control that, and how can you be aware of it? Because sometimes I think people are not aware of this, the misalignment.
Yes. So the nonverbal is important because, like for example, it's either you don't move at all, or if you don't move at all, it does not have impact, or you move too much, that will be distracting. So again, the principle is you need to feel what you say. To feel what you say. When you're able to feel what you say, the voice, the nonverbal cues, body language, they would go together. They will be in sync. They will be congruent. So, for example, just now, if I said let's fight for it, if I say it without feeling it, it will be let's fight for it. Then if I do like this, let's fight for it, then it looks very weird, right? There's a delay. And then, but if you're feeling it, it's more like let's fight for it.
Yeah.
Let's fight
That
for it.
absolutely, and I think the audience gets it very rightly, because you won't find the impact of it if it is not done well, and you find something odd, something weird, something funny. So it'll actually, whatever good content you may have, that can all go for a 6 if you don't convey it properly.
Yes. Yeah, so that's why nonverbal and verbal, the voice, they must go together. And the principle is to feel what you say.
Yeah, feel what you say. That's very important. Okay. Now, what strategies can leaders implement to overcome common voice related challenges such as vocal fatigue or stage fright when particularly when they are communicating in high pressure situations?
Yes. So early on, we briefly mentioned in order to communicate when they're stressed out, when they're in very stressful situations, which is probably every day for a lot of leaders. And the key is to develop equanimity in the voice, which is the groundedness, the centeredness in the voice in the midst of chaos, in the midst of stress and pressure. So how do we develop equanimity in the voice? It is also done by developing the voice from the body. Because when the body is participating in voice projection, the body is much, much bigger than this area upwards. So it can ground your voice, not only ground your voice, but also ground you as a person. So a lot of my clients, once they develop their sound, the bar model we mentioned, develop the sound, develop resonance in the body, they realize, they say, now, even in an argument, when people challenge me, I don't feel anything as strongly as before. So a lot of clients, they realized not only their voice sounded more grounded, they felt more grounded. So that's what they can do, is to develop more sound in the body. And also people want to remember that voice is working on the body. So when you work on the body, it will affect your mind, which is how you're thinking, how you're feeling. So working on the body can have a very powerful impact on you, on who you are. That's another thing that most people overlooked.
Very good. So that is a good answer. And also, I think the bar model that you said, would you like to explain the bar model a little more clearly? Because I don't know
Sure.
whether it really got. The other day it was very clear. Today, I think it was done in a passing. Yeah.
So the bar model we mentioned is to develop the voice coming from the body. And to do that, the first step is breathing, proper breathing. So just now we have learned what is the proper breathing. And then after that, once you develop the proper breathing, and it needs to become a habit, that takes about around 2 months. Once proper breathing becomes a habit, then can we activate the body here, activate here, to make it open, relaxed, and ready to generate sound. So that's the second step, which is activation. And then once it's activated, always ready to be used, that'll take another 2 months. And then we can develop the third step, which is resonance. Resonance is to generate vibration sound here. So that'll take another 2 months. So then you see it takes about 6 months to develop 3 habits. So that's
That's
what
really powerful. People tell, a lot of people think it's a very simple thing. You can do it overnight or something. No, I think it requires a lot of training. And that brings me to another interesting question.
Yeah.
See, as leaders, one of our job is to coach people, to train people, and bring about a team which can further communicate well.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, a senior leader who has many more people reporting to him, how do you think a leader should uh, firstly influence them, and then how should he coach them to be able to have a powerful voice so that in the entire organization the communication becomes much better?
You mean how do the leaders coach others
Yeah.
to
How
have
do
a good voice.
they coach others in this subject of voice?
They will have to walk the talk. So the first step is the leaders have to develop their own voice. So once they are able to develop their own voice, then they can train other people. So if they have not developed their voice, they cannot train other people. So that's the first and foremost. And then at the same time, right now, one thing they can do is to make sure that they're relaxed more often. So one simple exercise I always ask people to do, this exercise will help them to get a little bit more relaxed temporarily. So it's not a long-term solution. So temporarily they can get more relaxed is sighing. So like sighing. Because when you're sighing, all the held tension is being released. And also sighing tells you how much effort you need in voice projection, which is 0. The voice projection effort you need is as much as you sigh. So that's sometimes very shocking to a lot of people. They thought, oh, in order to project a powerful voice, I have to use more effort. No, it's the contrary. You need to use less effort. So the less effort you have, the better voice you will have. So that's what the leaders can do to teach their staff or team members right now before they develop their own voice. But this is, again, is a temporary solution. So the others, a lot of people they heard online on YouTube, they are all wrong. For example, a lot of people, when they came to me, they said, oh, sometimes I purposely lower my voice so I sound more credible, more authoritative. I said, how long did you last? One client said 10 to 15 minutes. I said, wow, unbelievable. 10 to 15 minutes, it's already very long. You won't last that long. And that's the wrong way of projection because you are pressing your vocal cords down to make that sound. It won't last long, it's damaging to your body. So you need to invest in time and effort to take time to develop your voice so that in the future you never need to think about how you are going to project your voice. You just open your mouth and speak because the good voice has already been developed.
Absolutely. And Cynthia, I did some coaching under a speaker who taught me how to speak. And one of
Yes.
the things he used to tell, and I think even Tony Robbins talks about it, when they say that when you're going to the stage and you're about to speak, so while you're still in the green room preparing to go, one is that you do something called priming yourself. So you sort of either do this, yes, and say that a couple of times, and then do some voice exercises where you open up your mouth and say papa and mama and all those sounds you make, and even do this brrr type of a sound. So I've done all this. How do you think these things are they impactful? Are they useful, rather, not impactful? Are they useful? Do they play a
Okay.
role in any way?
So I think that charging yourself up is important, but it really varies depending on different individuals. For me, to stay more grounded is more helpful. So that's why before the speech, I am doing more exercises to ground myself. So, for example, that one speech, big speech that I had in April in Bulgaria, where I noticed that in half an hour before my speech, my heart was pounding. Even though in my mind, I thought I was relaxed. So that's also sometimes I say to my clients that my clients said, oh, I think I'm not nervous, but my palms are wet. I said, your body knows more than your mind. So even though that I felt I'm okay, I'm relaxed, I'm well prepared, but half an hour before my speech, when the other speaker before me was speaking, my heart was pounding. Then I realized, I'm nervous. I'd better walk off this energy. So what I did was just, instead of sitting, I stood up and then walked behind the audience slowly so that I can walk off the nervousness. And also at the same time that because I was having a new opening, I wanted to call back what the speaker said. And so it's a new opening I was creating about 3 or 4 sentences. So that's why, since it's a new opening, I was also reciting in my head to make sure that I would say it with smoothness when I start. So that's what I did to prepare myself. But also at the same time, again, as always, so I ground myself. Especially when I'm nervous, I realize, my heart is pounding. So I'm breathing extremely slowly to ground myself. So for me, it's more about the grounding. Then you notice that I don't really do any vocal warm-up exercises. And I don't do that because for me, once the voice is developed in the body, it will be with you for the rest of your life. I don't do any warm-up exercises because I know when I speak, the voice will be powerful. But for people who have not developed their voices, what they can do is they can do the warm-up exercises. But once you've developed your voice, you don't need any more. So if you haven't developed your voice, the warm-up exercises you do, the most important one is open up your mouth. It's like this. Because once you are nervous, this part will be tight and the voice will not come out if you are not moving it. It can be like this. And then the other one is to manage your nervousness. You can also do humming. Very easy. Do humming. Like as a way to warm up your voice. So these are the 2 quick exercises for those who haven't developed their powerful voice.
Very good. So Tony Robbins talks a lot about the peak state, like what you're saying. When you're nervous, if you move, change the state of your body. If you're sitting, stand up. If you're standing, start walking, and things like that. He said, change your state, so your state of mind will also change.
Yes. So that's why, even for the peak state, everyone's definition will be different. For me, my peak state is I'm in the flow. So every time when I'm on the stage, I am in the flow, in the so-called, people say, in the zone. That's why I enjoy stage so much, because I am just in the flow. I'm in the zone. But to help me get to that stage, I may not do exercises that works for others to get there into their zone. For me, it's just to ground myself at the same time to make sure I'm present. The third thing is I ask myself and make sure, sometimes it's a question, sometimes a statement I make to myself, which is that I am going to enjoy myself. And you probably do noticed. So in every speeches, I laugh at my own jokes, just like now. So sometimes the audience said, "Oh, Cynthia, I every time when I saw you laugh at your own jokes, it made me laugh." So I enjoy myself on the stage. That's another way to help me get into my zone.
That's absolutely powerful and very valuable, because I've heard another term which they said, own the stage, which means you feel so homely, you feel so comfortable on the stage.
Yes.
And then you are absolutely in connection with the audience, because it is not something artificial. You've sort of got their nerve, you got understood their pulse, and so I can get what you're saying, and I've seen that happen.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. So there's 1 or 2 questions that have come here. Let me show you this one, for example. He says, vocal fatigue or throat hurt is big issue when I have long regular speaking assignments non-stop for 10 to 15 days.
Yes.
And before you answer this question, I'll also tell you that right from my childhood, I've been a very talkative child. And the first report that came from my school was very talkative child and all that. And my parents used to tell me, will you stop talking? You talk too much. And one day my mother asked me, aren't you tired of talking? And one, when so firstly, of course, when I got into training and speaking, I told my mother, I said, all my life you said that it was a very big weakness that I was speaking too much. But that weakness has become such that people come and listen to me and they pay me for it. The second thing is, the second thing I said is, I never get tired of speaking. So, like what he's saying, really speaking, I've never known this thing called vocal fatigue. Even
Mm,
when I've done 8 hours of training every day for about a week together. I've
yes,
been doing a program called Train the Super Trainers single handedly. I was doing 8 hours every day. And sometimes it carried on for 5 days, 3 days in one program, 3 days another program. I've never had this vocal fatigue. And he's saying that vocal fatigue or throat hurt is a big issue. So, can you
yes.
address this?
Yes, because that's because most people are not projecting their voice properly. Uh, and so, for example, there was once I was observing a speaker speaking. He was so passionate that even before he finished the 30 minutes, we can hear he has a sore throat already. So it's because he's not projecting the voice properly. When you go high pitch, if you are using the throat, of course that you are going to have vocal fatigue. So the reason people have vocal fatigue or they are having different pitch variations during speeches is because that you are using here, the throat, so-called using here. So where you're only resonating from here above. And that's why you have vocal fatigue and voice hurt or sore throat. So again, you see, that's why developing your powerful voice coming from the body is very helpful. It helps you to have a powerful leadership voice. It will also help you solve the voice problem of fatigue, sore throat, hurt, because once you develop the voice with the support from the body resonance, you will reduce the strain on your vocal cords. So that's why in the future, once you develop the voice coming from the body, you can speak for long hours as long as you can for the rest of your life without ever experiencing vocal fatigue. So for me, there are times that I need to speak the whole day, the workshop, and then after the workshop, I still have coaching sessions. Sometimes in the evening, like today, I will have interview sessions. So I never need to worry about, oh, I'm not going to have voice anymore. And because the proper voice projection coming from the body is a habit. So that's what I would suggest everyone to develop. The other problems that I also see is sometimes I see people speak with a very soft voice. And I said, why are you speaking like you're whispering? Because they said, I'm afraid I'll lose my voice if I speak louder. I said, that's the wrong way of using your voice. Then everyone has to listening to your whispering voice. So that's how you can solve that problem and speak with a powerful voice for the rest of your life, as long as you want, as long as there's no one getting tired of you speaking.
Very good. Yeah, and so thanks to Prince Saroj Kumar, who's coming out with good questions. And here's another thing he's saying. He says sometimes when tired throat goes dry, so often during speaking, and
Yes.
continue to that is, and any inputs to avoid frequent dry throat during speaking.
Dry throat can be from many reasons. It could be because of nervousness. It could be dehydrated. So that's why if it's nervousness, then you want to make sure you're managing the nervousness. If it's dehydrated, you want to make sure that in your speech there's a bottle of water there so that you can hydrate yourself.
I think that's something where most speakers do on the rostrum. They'll keep a glass of water, and
Yes,
in between you can just go and take a sip, which is very normal.
yes,
But I think the first one is more important. That if it is coming out of nervousness, then you have to be identifying that and treating that, because treating nervousness is different from just taking a sip of water.
yes.
Okay, so Cynthia, I think we've done almost 1 hour, and thank you very much. I thought we got a lot of time left for question answers, but I've just realized that the time has gone off so beautifully and so swiftly.
Yes.
But all those who are here, if you have any questions for Cynthia, we can probably take 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll wrap up.
Sure. Then you notice that there's so much about voice. Even this time, you probably found it's at least 50 to 60% different from the last time we talked, right? So there's so much about voice we can talk about. Most people think that, oh, voice is just you open your mouth and speak. No, it's much, much more than that.
Much more. Yes, much more. Actually, really speaking, for me, there have been a lot of more awakenings today than it was last time. And and even after having heard, not only you, I've heard a few more trainers talk about voice. Then I heard you in Kuala Lumpur in the month of May, and then all that. But every time you hear about it, there's something new coming up, and the new aspect. So yes, it is not a subject which is a one-time, one-day study. I think it's a continuous evolving process, and you need to keep improving your voice like any other thing. Where you want to develop something, the development is a process. It's not an event that happens just like that.
Yes.
So Prince is asking, do you suggest any book or your book?
Yes, of course, my book. So yes, check out my book. So Influence Through Voice. But now the physical copy is probably very hard to find. You can buy a Kindle version. So Kindle version, you can just download Kindle app on your phone and read from your phone. So that's how I read all books as well. I seldom buy physical copies anymore, even though I know that some people, they prefer physical copies where they prefer the sense of feeling something. But
and the
for
smell,
me,
I love the smell of that paper. You said, the title of the book is Influence?
It's Influence Through Voice. And also wait for my second book, which is I'm writing right now, is You Are Your Voice.
Okay. Just one. Okay.
But again, there's only so much you can learn about voice from a book. Voice is very practical. It's the body. You need to work on the body. Yes, a lot of my clients, they said, oh, I've read your book over and over again, but I'm still not able to bypass the breathing stage. But once they did one session, you may not necessarily to learn from me, but you need to learn from a professional. That because sometimes that my clients, they've been reading the book many, many times, and then when they came to me, they couldn't bypass the breathing stage. They came to me. Within half an hour, they got their enlightenment. They finally was able to get through what was stuck. So that's why we need professional support.
I take classes on experiential learning, and I feel that experiential learning is the best form of learning. So I normally ask people, how many of you have read about experiential learning? And not many people have. And then I ask them, how many of you know cycling? So everyone raises their hand, and I said, how many of you read that book, Learn Cycling in 21 Days? How many of you read that book?
Yeah.
So obviously nobody raises their hand, and I say, why? Why didn't you read this book? And there's silence. And I say, you never read that book because no book was ever written on how to cycle. You can't learn cycling or swimming by reading a book. So can I think, because this requires it requires a trainer to give you practical guidance. And see, now if you've written a paragraph to say that your breathing, when you breathe in, your tummy should come out, I don't think it can be so easily done till you demonstrate and then make people practice and then correct them. So that is how it works very well.
Okay, I'm going to quote you on the 21 days about cycling thing. Which is so true. Yes, breathe, because developing your voice is just like developing your muscles, developing a new skill like cycling, skill like swimming.
Yeah.
So it's working on your muscle as well.
Yeah. So we got another comment by Komal, and Komal said,
Yeah.
I have a low voice since childhood. How could I make it louder?
Mm.
Louder or more powerful, Komal?
So that's why I will need to hear your voice, because a lot of times people will describe their voice in a way where because a lot of terms they are not using it clearly. So for example, low voice would be more pitch. Louder is more about um, projection or volume. So I need to find out whether it's a pitch problem or a volume problem. Uh, so that's why for questions as this, I will really need to hear your voice. So again, even for the stronger voice, for the voice projection, if you want to have a stronger voice production, it's again developing the full, what I call the full body voice with the three steps we mentioned: breathing, projection, and breathing, activation, and resonance. So if you can develop that, a lot of voice problems will be solved. Projection issues, voice is too soft, not having the volume, voice have vocal fatigue after long hours. These voice problems can all be solved by the bar model. Even, of course, the most important one is you develop leadership quality in the voice.
Yeah. And the best is that you can always go to the bar and apply the bar model there along
Yes.
with your drink. So
Yeah.
Komal is asking a question whether this will be uploaded. No, it's not to be uploaded. It's already there. So even immediately after this, if you go to LinkedIn, you will find the complete recording there. The recording is also there on YouTube. So not to worry on that, Komal. And do it's for everyone here. Those who will be probably listening to the recording, if you have any comments, ask for your comments, and we'll make sure that we'll answer those questions to you in the comments. And those of you who want to really improve your voice, you may please contact Cynthia. You will not find a coach better than her, I can assure you that. And all of you who are wanting to be speakers, come and join PSAI, Professional Speakers Association of India. And very soon, Cynthia is going to be doing a masterclass for us in PSAI, so that won't be open to public. So become a member of PSAI and learn a lot of things like this, including voice. So do that. And also, Cynthia, if people have to contact you, can you give us uh, your what do you call it?
Contact. Mm.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think since it's on LinkedIn, people can find me on LinkedIn, and then they
Yeah.
can connect with me on LinkedIn. And then also, of course, my YouTube channel, there are more than 200 videos. You can go to YouTube and search in the search bar, Cynthia Voice Coach. You'll be able to find me.
Yeah, so that should be a better way than reading a book. So all those who wanted, asking for a book, I feel that if you go to the YouTube and listen to her or watch her videos, that would probably give you a better idea. So thank you very much, Cynthia, and thank you, the audience, for being there. And today I find the audience has been very, very active, and I've seen a lot of comments coming up. So thank you very much, and please continue putting your questions. We'll keep answering you, and be here every first and third Wednesday, although today is not, because this is a repeat of last Wednesday. So first and third Wednesday, I come with one expert or the other on various aspects of leadership. So the underlying theme is leadership, and we get various aspects of leadership to work on. So thank you very much. Thank you, Cynthia, for coming and
Sure.
investing your time and sharing your insights with us. And thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Sushil, and everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.